So, hey everyone, so glad to be joining this amazing cello festival. I'm Bianca. I'm a cello teacher. I'm a Suzuki cello teacher. I teach at the Music Institute of Chicago, kids from 3 years old until pre college students at the University of Idaho Prep Division. Um, I am Brazilian. I was so honored when I was invited to write this piece for cello solo for students that would be in the intermediate level about Suzuki Book 4. But I'm very happy that you accepted playing this piece. I wrote this piece inspired in some Brazilian music rhythms. There's a piece that I love very much that's called Pequena Suite from Heitor Villa-Lobos that is for cello and piano, and it's kind of an inspiration for me. And so that's why I named it Suite Pequenina, which means a teeny tiny suite because it's just little. The movements are short, and I try to put some elements that I feel that would be interesting, that I wish my students that are in that level would work on. And sometimes they're not a lot in the repertoire we work with. In the south of Brazil, where I live, where I'm now, we have a lot of influence from music from Argentina and Uruguay. So that is part of our culture. Even our food is much more similar to them than to other regions in Brazil. So we start with the first movement, talking more about music from the south of Brazil, where I'm now. So I would love to hear, Gita, you play tango. Very nice, Gita. Okay, what is the tempo you have there in your music?
I have chord note equals 84.
Okay, good. Yeah. So I think because I had another version before that, I have it quicker. So that's what I'm asking about. Um, so in the beginning, I put that misterioso indication, which means mysterious, right? Because tango is kind of a very I feel there's some mystery there when they play. You see, have you seen tango dancers dancing before? They start like kind of getting to look at each other and slowly connecting, and then by the end, they really dance together. So it starts kind of there thinking about if they really trust each other to be dance partners. So that's kind of what the beginning is. And I would think it's mezzo piano about maybe a kind of a darker sound, and maybe that was a bit too fast. So I would say. More like a little bit darker sound, not too fast. Um, and yeah, I think that's basically it. Would you like to do that beginning again? And then actually, what's going to happen later? It's almost like this line, this is the bass line, and that keeps going, and you put that melody on top of it, if that was a duet. So just imagine that bass line still happening, and then you put the melody in the melody. I love the way you played, very expressive. You did a little when you shifted there, you did a little slide that was super good for tango because they slide a lot when they play tango. So let's hear maybe from beginning to measure 14. Good. And that's kind of the introduction part. I like the beginning. I kind of think there's almost like a little air between the string and the bow, so it sounds more ethereal or something like that. For the pizzicato, though, I would keep a little bit more on the expressivo side. So maybe some vibrato. And then the rhythm in the second one, it's a little different. The last one. So, and then the last one, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Oh, and then it's both in the G. But I would just like maybe be more expressive in the pizzicato, put some more vibrato there. Would you like to try from 9?
Sure.
And then 9 to 14, and then we'll talk about the next section. Excellent. Thank you so much. That was great. Now, that next rhythm is very characteristic. If you played any other piazzolla pieces or any tango music, that happens a lot. That kind of bum, 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 bum. And it's almost like the accent notes are the important ones. The other ones need to be really light. So. And when they play tango, they're sometimes they're not very careful with like clean sound quality. You hear that they really like play with a lot of passion, and sometimes they have some kinds of effects that I didn't put here, but that they use that are really like noise. Uh, so just go for it in the crescendo. And then I really, as I said before, I really liked the way you played the expressivo before, so very legato. And then for the second one, you just little diminuendo and then do the whole crescendo as you did really well before. And then for the harmonics, I feel they are kind of coming back from that beginning kind of atmosphere and sound. Maybe if you start more in the middle of the bow. Ethereal again and kind of fading, right? And then ethereal again, like dissolving the sound. And I think that's pretty much it. Would you like to do that second section starting on 15 to the
Sure.
end? Good. And in the end, I would probably slow down my bow a lot. So it's almost stop, and it's just like a little just like little sound, but it remains slow long bow until there's nothing left. Maybe I should put a diminuendo there. That should be a good idea. Now that I'm seeing that. And only thing I would probably invest on a really fast vibrato, like in wide. Really very passionate, and then last. So do a different color in the pickup to 21, but then some like very subtly do the big crescendo and get to that forte espressive again, just so the second phrase starts a little bit far away and then it comes closer. Do you have any questions about this movement?
No, not about this movement. It's
Oh,
really
good. Okay, are you going to play the next one too?
yes, I am.
Wonderful. Okay, so let's move to the next one. Very nice, Geeta. Okay, so as everyone might know, maybe not, but Brazil was colonized by Portuguese people. So we had in the past people coming from Portugal, and we would have like a king and a queen and everyone before we were a democracy. So they brought waltzes here. So we had composers, Brazilian composers, composing the first Brazilian waltzes for dancing, and as we like big dresses, beautiful. We had some beautiful castles that they built when they moved here, and so that's where my inspiration came from. um and how was playing that beginning part? Was that too strange?
No, I didn't think it was strange. I think that like I don't know, it was really fun.
Okay, good. So my idea there, it's because that's the way I work with people that are learning the Brval Sonata in book 4. When there's that part, so I get them to pluck that
Oh,
first, right? And of
yeah.
course, this with the bow. Sometimes I do it without the bow at that point, but here we needed the bow, and I thought it was really good practicing this transition between bow and pizzicato because usually kids play at that point in orchestra, and I have many students coming that they're struggling with changing from bow to pizzicato because we don't have a lot of that in songs. So yeah, so that was just the idea to work on always pairs, right? So you don't put a finger at a time. So that avoids it when you need to play both notes. You just prepare better. So that was my idea for that part. For when we have the theme, I would say that try to do vibrato in every note. I think that's something that around that level in Suzuki we are trying to get like continuous, start getting them to vibrate continuously. Um, and then the other chords, they were very pretty, and yeah, just this little tunnel here to make sure they know how to keep one finger down and the other strings free, right? So that avoids any kind of low arm. And then I also thought about, of course, the Bach minuets that are in book 4. Then you have the G major, the G minor thing. Um, but I think you played it lovely. Another thing that I thought that I would do if I were playing that, that's a little bit of with like chanson triste that has those repeated notes that we want to like increase a little bit the bow in each one. So in those parts where you have, start with last, maybe I should put a crescendo too there. So that might be something that could work too. Very nice, Gita. Thank you so much for learning
Thanks,
that, for
Bianca.
playing for me. It's really nice to see someone I know playing it.
Thanks,
I hope you had
Bianca.
fun.
It
Thank
was
you.
fun.
I'm going to talk a little bit about the next one. So Choro is the translation would be like cry, but actually it's very happy music. But they used to call the guys who would play this kind of music choroings, like the people who would cry. But I mean, there's not really. It's very very happy music. These guys, they would be like in the end of 19th century in Rio de Janeiro. That everyone probably heard about that. I never been there, which is kind of funny because it's a very famous place. But these guys would go like to bars at night and play music together, and they would play. They kind of created this genre at that point. Music was usually played by flute. So there's a very good flute player called Pixinguinha. He was also a composer who composed lots of choros. Um, and then it would be accompanied by guitar, and sometimes there would be a kind of tambourine doing some kind of percussion too. And it's something super kind of light hearted kind of music, so it's not very strict or anything. It's just supposed to be fun. And the rhythm, this pam pa 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 and pam pa 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 pa, is very used in Choro. And then I also try to. Did you get any confused with fingerings or the way I wrote the? Okay,
I don't.
because this is good because this is for kind of there's a little bit of this technique or the like inchworm one where you just because you use that in book 4 too for the profile sonata. So I thought that would be nice to work a little bit more. Did you play? Okay. For the beginning, I was debating if I was just I changed a little bit the articulation a few times. From the dot and the dot with the dash, because I was worried that the dot would look like it needs to be really, really short. But coming to that thing where Brazilian music, like Brazilian people are very usually laid back in things, they're not very strict. So I would say you could. So the staccato just means you stop your bow between the notes, right? They're not connected, but they don't necessarily need to be very, very short. So think about it. And then let's try just from 1 to 5, 6, 7. First note of 7, meaning that that one has a dash, so that one is a little longer. So and the ones in 4 too, they have a little separation, but they're a little bit more on the longer side because of the dash. So let's try just to there, and then we'll talk about the rhythm in the next session that is a little bit tricky. Great, thank you so much. That was much better. How did that feel?
It felt good.
Before it was like on in the edge of being too fast.
Okay.
And it's not, I don't think it's anything about the speed itself, but just about we don't want to be rushed. These people, like, they're drinking beer in the bar and playing music together among friends. So it's just more laid back style. So maybe, yeah, I wouldn't think about too fast. But I think the way you did now was just fine. It was really, really good. Okay, now from that measure 9, it starts on 7, in fact, but from 9 that comes that melody that has kind of a tricky rhythm. So what I would say is if you do the dash in the first note, that was my idea, trying to help you not go too early to the second note in that measure. So I'll play that again, and then let's try to hear you play from 9. So good, that was better. Now the 16th needs to be short. That's what makes the rhythm happen. So that's a quick one in short. Now I see what I said. So that's the second the 16, that's the pickup for the next measure. But make sure you keep the pause there, because what happens when you play the second note in the measure too short, sometimes you forget the rest. So rest. Let's try one more time. Did you practice that with the metronome?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. No, I realized that it's kind of funny because I grew up hearing this kind of rhythm, but I realized that it's something that's not familiar for people here, right? Something there's like plenty of songs in Brazil that are like that, like the whole song like that. So for me, it's kind of, it comes in my ear. Even when I started writing that, I was like, how do I write that? Because I had that in my mind, but it took me a while to think about that. So let's try one more time. So bum 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 ba bum bum da 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 da. So a little breath in that. Maybe it helps or maybe not, but in the rest. Okay, now maybe there's a little accent thing we're gonna. And let's just try one more more time. Yeah, so I think the note that needs to be, the 16 that needs to be very short, and maybe I should put a dash in the second note in the measure, now thinking about that. I think the second note is too short now, so rest, rest, rest. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, rest down, 1, 2, 3, 1, rest.
Okay.
Right? Does it make sense? I don't know if that's how I would count, but. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, thumb. Yes. Excellent. That's it. Okay, so thank you. Was that Dr. Lee? That was perfect. Okay. So just 1, 2, 3, 1. Yes. Now let's try to connect that from 2 measures before. So. Just this much. Great. That sounded wonderful. Okay, let's do the next line now. And I think that was the only thing actually. I think the other parts were pretty good. Maybe we could look at the end a little bit, but so let's try that fourth line. And no rush on the when you have the notes like in 14. So. I'm hitting the table here. Okay. Then you did. Do you want to try? Try that. Just make sure always 1, 2, 3 in that first beat. Good. Okay. Then this part you did really good with the rhythm. And that's actually a percussion instrument that we have in Brazil that, Carnival is something big in Brazil. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It's a big parade. People dress up and there's like, it's super huge. It's a big thing. It's a holiday, 4 days. No one works. It's crazy. And they have this instrument, so they have a big drum section that plays and then someone sings, they compose new music. Each school has a theme and the music. And they have this instrument that's called cuica, that's a percussion instrument that has a little thing that you pull and push, and that makes this and it's exactly that rhythm. But it is really good. So if you ever want to listen to a cuica, that's the instrument that will make that. How was that ending with that shift to that harmonic? I was not really sure if that was going to be a problem. Should it try the last 2 lines?
Yes.
Very good. You're getting that rhythm. So 1, 2, 3 to the end, and you can really like do a little bit of if you want to like really slide to get to that A. That's totally fine to do. Let's try just the last line. So just that F. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Thank you so much. I think you did a really good job with that one. In northeast of Brazil, there's lots of this music that is kind of it's very popular music, and they will sing about their lives, you know. People in northeast of Brazil, there's a lot of very, very poor people. There's very dry areas there where it really like they have to walk miles every day to get to some water so they have things to drink. They try to plant things to eat, but things don't grow because it's super dry. And it's very simple people. If you look at the people, like they look like they're 80, they're just 40 because it's a very like
Mhm.
suffered life. um, and sometimes they do this kind of songs that it's kind of saying a poem. That's my idea of this one. That's why there's so many commas there, like to really like you were saying something and then you take a breath and you say something else, and it's almost like a lament. So that's the idea of this piece, and the tempo should be kind of free, you know. um and you see that there's a few part that's sound more like sad, right, the minor parts, but there's a few more light parts where it modulates and like the double stops part. But
Mhm.
it's almost like you were saying a poem, you know. There's phrases, you say something, and then it's like what I felt is like it's one of these really simple people from northeast and they're just telling the story of their lives. And I feel that that lento is almost like they're about to die, you know. Maybe they're in their deathbed and they're thinking about about their lives and they're fading in that part, so they just, you know, it's the last little breath. Then they gather some energy. And you know, it's very sad. And maybe they're seeing the light. I don't know. And then very sad ending again. As low as you want. And really fading by the end. So it's a sad movement as this one. So just think sad. Thank you for that. I felt really emotional. That was very beautiful.
Thank you.
um, um, and general things. So I just noticed after I sent to Daniel that, kind of things that you do and you don't realize. On 22, it's actually from F to F, my tunnel point there, that I wanted to hold the third finger down. So keep your finger for that F. That's again from the second movement of the vowel, and when there's that you want to leave that third finger. I don't know why I put the first, but is the fourth note of that measure third that you hold until the last note of that measure. So just that little tunnel. And I think even when you were sad, maybe you could think the fortes as a bit angry then, not too sad. So I think you could do a little more on the fortes. There's just two of them, but go for it. And then in measure 19, I put a little dotted line there. Probably that's not very clear, but I think what you could do there is a little bit of a portamento when you do so. A little slide there. The lento was perfect to me. I think it was super good. The F, it got a little better when you kept playing, but in the first line, I felt that you were kind of shortening the last note of the phrase to make the comma. So I would keep that full, and then don't worry about, it's solo. You can totally take your time. And I would just think about like vibrating every note, especially in the beginning. So. And then here there's a change in color, so that's what I meant with mezzo forte, mezzo piano. So. And when you do the little stop in your bow to do the comma, I would keep the vibrato going. So there's a little end of sound still there, so it's not a complete stop. So your left hand keep going the vibrato while your bow does that. How were the double stops thing? Fine? Did they work good? Yeah. I really like that part. It's not because I wrote it, but I think it's a fun part to play. I think it sounds cute.
Pretty.
Anyways, anything else you would like to? Any questions after you played it, or anything that I could?
Can I just try the couple spots that we talked about?
Yes, of course. Okay. Yeah, that would be wonderful. Yeah, that was great. That was super good. I think you got the perfect stop there on the comma. I think that sounded really good, and I like the vibrato in every note. That sounded very expressive. I would still maybe on the mezzo piano you could even do a little bit of darker color to start and measure, pick up to 6.
Can I ask a question?
So mostly, yes.
Can I ask a question? Going to the fermata in 25, do you want the music before that because it's forte, to drive to the fermata, or is there a slowing down aspect, or do you want the contrast? Do you know what I mean, in the next section? I'm just wondering how you think about that.
Thank you. That's a great question. I think I would drive there. Totally drive. Like keep the volume going and drive to that note. And then after that, kind of subito do the lento one. Yeah, you can even go a little bit forward. I think that would sound great. Do you want to try that?
Sure.
And maybe let's try from the mezzo piano to see if we can do the third finger bar, thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's beautiful. I love it.
I have a question. What is the fifth movement like depicting?
Okay, yes. So Baião is from northeast of Brazil. It's the guys, they use like some kind of fun hats and they dance. There's like super fun parties they do. They're partying. It's a lot of percussion heavy, like triangle, chick 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 in the triangle. There's a lot of drums. So that's why there's the percussion in the beginning. And another characteristic of this kind of music is that they use a lot of it's a lot of modal music. So there's a mixolydian thing there. That's why that theme in 37 it's G major, but that's the F natural.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
that makes it mixolydian,
Uh-huh.
and that's very very big in northeastern Brazil music.
Yeah.
And then that part in 57, yeah, you're right. Like you can totally like kind of slide there. So it's just something like supposed to be fun, almost like you were dancing and you were sliding your feet on the floor.
hmm
Did it help a little bit?
Yeah, no, that helped. No, it's super fun to play. I figured it was some kind of like dance. They're like party.
Yes.
It's fun. It's very fun to play.
It is. They have like great food. They do that in the evening. So there's fire. They make a big fire and then they eat really good food. There's a very big party that actually is like a feast that's right now in June. And it's big in Northeast, like super big. And they dress up like they put little dresses. Usually it's very colorful. And they put a little bit like some, how do I say that in English? So it used to be like very simple people. So they kind of want to show it's the like the farmers or the people who would work planting and then they harvesting at that point, and then they would their clothes would be not very good, so they would have holes, so they would just patch with a different kind of fabric. So the clothes are like that. Like they do these in good clothes just to portray the kind of very simple people. It's kind of very bad, but another thing they do sometimes, they just like put something and turn a tooth black because some of those people wouldn't have all their teeth.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, just to like to it's kind of, I think they are just trying to have the memory of the simple people of like older times that were the workers in the farms, and so that's when they would celebrate.
Yeah. No, this makes sense. Makes sense.
Great. Okay, can't wait to hear you.
All right.
Very fun. Thank you for playing. Did you have fun?
Yes, I have a lot of fun. Just the whole tapping thing is very fun. It's very entertaining.
Good. And you got the rhythm really good. So that's exactly the rhythm how it goes. And I didn't put the accent before, and then I changed that and put that accent to help that, because that's the important beat, the last one in the measure. So that was really nice. Well, there's for that part that I mentioned before from 53, what I would do probably to keep those dynamics going, I would like just start with less bow and then each one would be more bow. So
Yeah.
You've never heard
to
that.
make that.
Okay.
Did you hear?
Um,
Yeah, so just working with bow, the length of your bow and the speed, right? And then in the second line, it would be the opposite, full bow,
Yep.
and then a little less H measure. That's what I thought that would be effective there. Would you like to play just those two lines?
What the? Yeah.
Nice. I think that gives a good effect there.
Yeah.
So yeah, just like it's really you were using bow speed, right, to do that, so it doesn't get harsh or anything. It's just like sounds more and sounds less. I loved your from 37. I think you were almost like a northeastern Brazilian playing that. That was super beautiful. Yeah, I love the cantabile quality, the vibrato, the hairpins that worked really, really beautifully. That was very, very nice. So for the quick notes, just make sure you really do that rest there, because sometimes it looks like the note after the rest is coming a little bit early. I'm not sure. Okay. And then just write the right amount, because it's like 7 notes, right? Not 8. So sometimes it's easy to just like get a little bit not very yeah, and on the repeated ones, right? To do one more or one less.
Yeah.
So just watch those ones. Because if you do, then the bow it will be funny, right? Well, it won't work. So should we try that from and I would say from the glissando, I would do in the new bow, I think. So I would slide on the up bow. I think it sounds clearer if you do that.
Okay.
So let's try from 17. And you were like in the edge of like too fast. Okay. So it's better like a little bit more clear and even than doing too fast. I know it's fun to play it fast. So
yes, it is.
So let's try like just a smidge, a little bit slower, so to see if it gets more clear and precise in the rhythm.
Okay. Oh wait, let me try that again. Backwards. One more time. I see what you mean about adding the extras. There's so many things. There's so many D's. It's hard to like. No. Okay. 6, then 2, then 6, then 2.
I know. I did that before when I was playing that. It happened to me too, and I wrote it. So, especially the last one, right? The last little scale.
Yeah, that last little bit.
It's a tricky one.
Yeah.
And then it got better throughout, but in the first one, sometimes the rest. So I don't know. I have to try it. I don't know what I could do. I don't know. Just like your foot, stomp your foot, or something like that. It might be even more complicated. But anyway, anything that gets you that sense of there's a beat there for the first beat.
Okay, yeah.
Which is the second beat in the measure. So that second beat needs to be there before you play the next one. Should we try the first line and the second page one more time, just for that repeated?
First line of the second page?
Yes.
Yes.
Good, that was much better, and big crescendo there. So really, like, start using more bow like crazy.
Okay.
Let's try the lead. it's just 2 in that last measure. Yeah. What you da-da-da-da-da-da. Good. That was very nice. Okay, let's hear just that from 17, those 2 lines. Now with the new bow, the glissando wasn't very effective, right?
So yeah.
Yes. Maybe just need to delay the shift a little bit until you change the bow, and then you should.
Okay.
Yeah. And then let's try that to see if you can be really precise. So try to, I don't know, you can say something or just think something or breathe, so you make sure there's something in that rest.
All right, I'm going to do the rests.
Okay, from 17, just 2 lines will be fine.
Okay.
Great, that was so much better. You know, I think the crescendo is something too.
Yes.
When you start to use more bow for the crescendo, it's easy to kind of run over the rest. So just combining both things. And yeah, I really like little bows. And just steady. Very nice. Do you have any questions or any comments?
And just in the beginning about some of the cello percussion.
Oh yeah.
What kind of sounds are you looking for? Because it's very specific where you want the front of the cello or the shoulder or the bottom, but what kind of sounds? Because you can get a bunch of different sounds in those areas.
Right, that's a great question. That would be kind of the higher pitch, right? And here, kind of just a little lower. Right, it's kind of the bass one.
Yeah.
I think that was what I thought. And then when you do with the, they don't need to be very short. I mean, you want the resonance to keep going. Because there's the tie there, right? So just don't cut too short, and the resonance can keep going while you do that. So just keep the sound going. That's what I would try. Would you like to try this beginning, just the percussion part?
Yes, I would love to try the beginning again.
Great.
Yeah, makes a lot more sense.
Good. And the last note too, like rest, right? Don't cut that too short. Rest until the second beat. And yeah, the actually this one has an accent, so I would like to hear that one louder than the other one. So.
Okay.
And maybe if your hand is a little bit like harder here, not too soft, you know, your fingers really straight like that. I think you get a little bit more sound when you do.
So. Yeah. I would be quieter on the front. Okay.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I think that was great. But yeah, that's a good thing. It's exploring. I don't think I go too top here, just side here.
Okay, the side, yeah. Oh yeah, you can get.
Yeah, I wrote top shoulder, right? Top shoulder, but I wouldn't come too here. I think here it sounds more.
Yeah.
It's a good thing to explore, right?
Yeah.
Great, thank you for asking. I will keep thinking about that, but I think that's basically what I would do.
Okay.
What
awesome.
you did now was pretty good. Thank you so much. You played so good. Actually, I think the Proval is the major one because I think it's the big piece in book 4. it might be because I also love teaching that piece, so I have so much fun. I love when people come, like today, this morning I was teaching in the festival. What are we going to play today? Oh, bravo! It's yay, because I think there's so many good techniques to work on that. So it's one of my favorites. But then aside of that, I think, of course, the waltz, the little waltz, the Valsinha, I try to think about a little bit of the G minor, G major that we have, and the Bach minuets. Of course, the style is not as much like that, but a few pieces that I feel that sometimes these students get. For example, let me remember how it goes. So for the and that third position, sometimes I feel we don't do enough like low third position, and then you get to that book and you have to do it. So there's a bit of that in the first and the second movement. And then, as I said before, I think the pizzicato, plucking and holding the bow and all that thing is nice. And I like doing harmonics a lot, just to, even when I'm teaching like vibrato, and doing, so they get like how to do it light without putting too much weight on the string, and playing harmonics in different places, so it's not so scary when that comes in orchestra music, because my students come to me with orchestra music sometimes with harmonics and they don't really know where to go. I mean, they know these ones but not other ones. And I think that was pretty much it. And then I think it was good putting the rhythms, like in the tango, the 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2, and in that 1 2, the Choro, that was really tricky, right? It's not for me because that's in my mind, but just to explore some different rhythms. I don't know if I answered the question really, but that's what I thought about.
Bianca, could I ask you, how do you go about, I guess, teaching rhythms to us over here that have a tendency to play them pretty straight and pretty forward? If you think about like what you were saying, the rhythm and the style is laid back. How do you help students to feel that laid back quality?
That's a great question. Yeah, because I never taught this piece before, right? It was the first time today. I'll probably have to come up with a method to do that. It's funny, I don't teach a lot of Brazilian music. I think I should do more. For students here, I don't remember if I ever. And it's funny because this thing about playing Brazilian music, composing Brazilian inspired music was something that just came up after I moved to the United States. In Brazil, we don't play a lot of Brazilian music even in Brazil, which is kind of funny. So yeah, that's a great question, and that's what caught me when I was writing that. About the articulation. How was I going to communicate that, right? Being that is part of me, because for me it sounds like very familiar, that kind of rhythm. I will have to give some more thought on how I would work that, and I would be open for suggestions about that.
Yeah, let's talk about